What's up, guys? Do you hear that? I think it's a boom. We've
Boom!
got another transfer portal commitment. Furman guard Alex Wilkins has committed to Kentucky, making it 2 commitments from the transfer portal so far. I don't know about you guys, but I am thrilled about this. We've got a motley crew for the rapid reaction. I am here from Barren River Lake, sitting on my porch where I think it's about to storm outside, so that could get interesting. We've got Adam Luckett at the Kroger Field press box after Kentucky's spring game. We've got Stephen Peak, I think, from his studio in Louisville, and Jacob Polachek from an undisclosed location. We cannot disclose where he is. He has been on the phones, working like a madman to tell you guys what is next. This is awesome, guys. I will admit I was getting pretty nervous. You know, these guys, we had a trio of visitors on campus. We had Wilkins, we had Sebastian Ranchik, we had Donnie Freeman, and they all left campus without a commitment. I was getting a little nervous, but here we are at Saturday at 5:30, and Kentucky has what could be their leading scorer next season. Adam, what was your immediate reaction when you saw the news that Alex Wilkins is a Cat?
One, I just think Pope needed this win. It's a win over some brands. Seems like a guy they really wanted. Two, high production and interesting fit, I think, with Diallo, because they're both kind of guys, at least to my knowledge, they both played point guard on their teams last year. They were both kind of high usage players. They both didn't have the best, I'd say, raw 3-point shooting numbers, but they're both guys that can get to the rim, beat guys off the bounce, but are good free throw shooters, both over 80%. So you've got guys that might have higher upside as perimeter shooters, but they are kind of the creators that Mark Pope kind of talked about. I can't remember if it was his post game after the Iowa State loss or when he was on with Tom Leach. It's kind of the end of the year radio show where he talked about we just have to have more kind of guys that can create off the bounce and make things happen. Both these guys can do that. And so it's a very interesting backcourt, big backcourt, guys that can take guys off the bounce. And you've got 2 point guards. I think if something happened to Diallo, Wilkins can be your point guard. And that's something I think everybody wanted. And there's not the injury stuff. I think there was injury stuff with other point guards. There's no injury stuff. So you got 2 guys who can play point, who are big and can get to the rim.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. Jacob, I'll throw it to you next. There was some concern maybe with Wilkins that maybe he wanted to be PG1. Maybe he wanted to just be a starting point guard somewhere. So the fact that he's willing to come in and maybe be a two guard, maybe fill in for Diallo when Diallo takes a breather, that's a big win for Pope. So what were your reactions? You've been around talking to people around his recruitment and what appealed to him about Kentucky and Mark Pope.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky played this pretty quietly, but in a smart way. They went, Mark Pope flew out to see him last Saturday, and then they set that first official visit. And coming out of the visit, we wrote on KSR Plus that Kentucky was in a really good position to close. And the next day, they have a commitment without him taking any other visits. So it was a quick recruitment. We talked about the point guard situation, Mark Pope's first 3 commits are 3 point guards. You have Mason Williams, and then the 2 transfer commitments with Alex Wilkins and Zoom Diallo. I know there was a lot of talk about whether he could play off ball with Diallo there. And I talked to some sources who said that while he's a point guard instinctively, he can play on or off ball. He was a guy that was not really expected to play a huge role coming in as a freshman last year at Furman, but then just within a couple of weeks of the summer, it was clear that he was the most talented guy they had and had earned that starting point guard role pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. You know, you hear Furman, not a lot of people watching this have probably watched a ton of Furman basketball, but Wilkins kind of became a little bit of a star in the NCAA tournament. He had a really good game versus UConn. I think he had 21 points on 8 of 5 and 4 of 8 from 3. That's pretty impressive. I'll throw it to you next, Stephen, because I feel like you're the emotional member of the group. And I know that you were probably as nervous as anybody that Kentucky hadn't gotten another commitment since Zoom Diallo. So what was your reaction when you saw the news?
I'm so excited right now. I really wanted Alex Wilkins after I watched his a full game versus UConn and really liked what I saw out of him. And I know people want somebody who's a shooting guard, combo guard that can shoot the three at a higher percentage, but he made 65 threes last year at Furman. I think he shot just over 32%, just shy of 33%. I'll take that. I think that's going to go up a little bit next season, and especially when you can get Zoom Diallo, getting him more open looks. I'm really excited after watching his video. If you haven't seen his highlight tapes, like, after you get done watching this, take a look at them because you'll get fired up. You can see what this guy can bring to the table. I mean, I've heard people say he reminds them of SGA. I mean, that's some high praise. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but he's got length. He can shoot the ball. I like the way he's able to create shots. I'm really excited about this. When his name got brought up and I looked at his video, looked at his numbers, talked with our guy, Brandon Ramsey, this was the guy I wanted them to land. So I did not want them missing at this one. And credit to Mark Pope and his staff for getting Alex Wilkins to Lexington. I'm so excited about this one.
Yeah, I've seen the comparisons to SGA a lot. It almost feels not fair to compare anybody to SGA at this rate, but you got to remember when Shea came to Kentucky, he was just a 4-star recruit, and for the first half of the year didn't even start, which seems insane. So if he's even half as good as Shea was, I will be more than pleased. So it seems like Kentucky's backcourt is in much better shape than it was a week ago. Jacob, I'll go to you next. Where do we go from here? We're still waiting to hear what Donnie Freeman will do, Sebastian Rancic. I think there's some new names maybe on the radar. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, Freeman and Rancic are the ones that I'm watching the most closely. I talked to Rancic today, and he said that he's coming down to a decision pretty soon, and it sounds like it's going to be Kentucky or Florida State there. Donnie Freeman, that one's been a little bit more all over the place with some schools trying to get in last minute, but I still like where Kentucky stands with both of those guys. And then you can start to move with some other newer targets. Gabe Dines, the big man from USC. Mark Pope had a FaceTime with him today. So he entered the portal yesterday, and Kentucky's already starting to reach out to him. So there's still new names popping up, but as we get closer and closer to the portal deadline, you're really starting to see this starting lineup come into place.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to the chat. We've got some good messages so far, including one from an Arkansas fan. Shout out to Smokin' Socks, who says, just wanted to say as an Arkansas fan, I saw Wilkins play in the first round. You all got a good one. Good luck to you all, and I hope he doesn't torch us next season. Well, I hope he does torch Arkansas next season, but we appreciate your kind words none the same. We also got a message from our colleague, Jeff Drummond, who said, please let Adam leave the Kroger Field press box. So he was the last one up there in true KSR fashion. So we won't keep this going too much longer. We're going to have a ton of coverage coming out on Alex Wilkins. I loved Cody Feger's choice of a boom tweet. He had a video of Tubby Smith. You got to love that. So it was John Wall for Zoom Diallo, Tubby Smith for Alex Wilkins. I wonder which one he'll go with next for whoever Kentucky gets next. That'll be exciting to follow. So let's see. What other things do we have in the chat? We got Let's Go Cats. Is UK looking for a backup shooting guard? How does this affect McNeil Jr. or Cox? Jacob, do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, well, Cox's recruitment has gone dead silent of late. So I don't have a lot to talk about as far as UK. I don't even believe he made the visit. If he did, it was the quietest visit I've ever seen. And then as far as McNeil, that's another one that's a bit odd of a recruitment. I can share more about that later when I have a little bit more info, but I think that NC State could be in play about a return. A lot of schools involved there, and that one's really up in the air. So I would expect to see probably some more names pop up soon, but I think that the way Mark Pope builds his rosters, I think he likes to have a lot of interchangeable parts in the backcourt, and this Alex Wilkins addition is pretty evident of that.
All right. Well, Adam, any more thoughts on Wilkins? I was going to end with Steven, but I'll let you have one more shot.
No, I want to throw out there that, we've seen some of these like mid-major transfers with multiple years of eligibility go to schools and become real stars. Like obviously Walter Clayton and Will Richards stick out at Florida. They go to Florida there for multiple years. They played for good programs like Iona, Clayton. Richard was at Belmont, I believe. Then they go to Florida, and they're awesome at Florida. So, like Wilkins, there's a chance you have to kind of let's see what he does first year because that is leveling up, but he's got multiple years. He's potentially a guy, like a cornerstone guy, I think, that you could potentially build around, and that's an area of roster building I don't think we've really seen Pope dive into yet, but I think it's an area that could maybe be something that could be really have a really nice ROI for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stephen, I'll take it back to you. It feels like we've been on a roller coaster with the transfer portal, and it was getting pretty angsty. Are we feeling better? Are you feeling better? Are you in a good state of mind about Kentucky's portal class?
This was a big get for me, and I got text messages right now in our group chat with a lot of Kentucky fans, and one of my really good friends, he said, we really needed this. I agree. This is going to help our mentals a little bit. And to Adam's point too about mid-majors, I know people have their eye on some bigger names and guys. Walter Clayton Jr., that's the perfect analogy, not because of style of play, but because he came from, I believe, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, Iona, is that where he was at? So
yeah, he's like Patino, yeah.
Right, yeah. You probably didn't know who Walter Clayton Jr. was. I didn't really care didn't really know who he was until he hit that three that tied the game in 2024 in Lexington. I know from following mid-majors that guys fall through the cracks all the time. I mean, Isaiah Cannon at Murray State, Cameron Payne at Murray State, John Moran at Murray State, mostly Murray State players. But here's a Furman guy who fell through the cracks, landed at Furman, and is clearly good enough to be playing at a high level at a high major. And he's going to next year in Lexington. I can't wait. And you get him for possibly 3 years if it all works out. So it's much like getting Cam Williams going into his sophomore season, hoping to have him for 2 more years. So again, I'm very thrilled with this addition to the team, and I'm excited to see who else they can now. We got some pieces now. The team is starting to come together, and there's just a few more spots left. And this should make other players excited to come and join what's going to be, I think, a really good team.
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe having Wilkins in will kind of make Kentucky a little more appealing to some of their other targets. So, all right. Well, hopefully this isn't the only happy rapid reaction we're doing this weekend. Stay tuned. We got a couple other irons in the fire, or at least Pope does. So hopefully we'll be coming to you soon. For those of you asking where Jack and Zach are, they had today off. I think Jack is actually at his anniversary dinner. So I'm sure he's getting judgment from Katie for tweeting out at the dinner table. So
we're the new basketball bennies. We're the new basketball bennies.
Exactly. All right. So Alex Wilkins is a Cat. It's a happy Saturday night, and we will talk to you guys later. Go Cats.